Hello, good evening, and happy Monday. I wasn't going to come with a video today, but I decided to go ahead and do one. Reason being is there's just been something on my mind as far as, how, people treat other people when it comes to relationships, all of that, dishonesty. And I say honesty is the best policy because that way, when the person finds out the truth about something, then it's better for them to hear it from you than from somebody else. That's my motto. Um, I just wanted to touch base on this subject matter and, things that's going around about, I spoke about, exes spinning the block and, all of that. And, how I was saying it's not a flex for somebody to do that. Um, so this is a little bit of everything that I'm gonna be talking about. I'm not gonna be with you too long on this, but I do have some projects I gotta tend to. What a project, and I'm working on a book just specifically for ladies. I'm working on, and it's very imperative in the scripture because I don't have my Bible sitting next to me. It's on my phone on my app. But when it says guard your heart, for out of it flows the issues of life. Excuse me. And God didn't lie when he said that. God don't lie about anything. Men and women will lie, people will lie, but God will not lie when it comes to his word. It's true. It's true. Because I just want to say this to you for those who are actually dealing with, you know, emotions, um, an ex resurfacing uh, in your face, in your DMs, in your messenger. Um, if you're dealing with those emotions that you had back in the day for them, or if you have experienced those emotions where you felt like, at that time about how you felt at the time where the relationship was about to end and how that person was being and feeling and all that kind of different stuff, that can take a toll on you and make you question like, man, was I good enough? Was I not good enough? What happened and whatever else. So I just want to encourage ladies. This is for the ladies. Men, I can get with y'all later. I'll do something for the men tomorrow, but this is specifically for the ladies because this topic just keeps on coming around Facebook, spinning the block with the ex, and oh, she give him another chance and all that kind of different stuff. Let me be real with you. If that connection is ordained, God ordained, and God brings someone back around the block to you, and God says, well, hey, you know what? I refined him. I purged him. I did this. I did that with him. He's okay. You got the green light from me. If God told you that and to get back with your ex, God will put things in divine order. Now, that's the only time that you should consider, or when God says to spin a block with an ex, because obviously you two love one another. God saw a connection. God saw what purpose y'all can have together in the kingdom. God doesn't just connect people because you're two good looking people. God connects people for purpose. Everything that God does has purpose. Hold on. Everything that God does, every word of in the Bible has purpose to it. If this cuts me off, I'll come back with part 2. So I'm just going to make this quick. Let me tell you something. And I'm going to say this again. As I mentioned, that's the only exception to the rule there. An ex coming back to your life. Again, that exempts what I said about God and him doing whatever he need to do with that man. Besides that, an ex is not a flex of him returning to you. If that ex was like dismissive, kind of cold, kind of nonchalant about seeing you, how you felt, all that got different stuff, and they resurface themselves, they come back around your way, and they try to reconnect, think about it. If they try to reconnect with you after they said, hey, I don't want to have nothing to do with you, they probably didn't say it like that. But their actions and their words were conjoined together for you to think that. And they said, well, hey, you know what? I just want to be friends. I'm not sure what I want right now and all of that. Take that word. Take that. Believe what they say. When a person shows you who they are, believe them. There's men that will just be out here playing the field, you falling for them, they playing the field, and you sitting there committed 110%, giving your all, giving your love, your time, attention, everything that a woman could give to a man, and that man still is not serious about you. Red flag. Red flag, red flag. I've been down that road before, and I kid you not, if an ex comes back to you, want to rekindle things with you, or come around to you, it wasn't them. It wasn't you that was a problem. It was them. It was them. Every ex-boyfriend I had came back this way. So they see you're a good woman. I know I'm a good woman. I know I'm a good woman. I put my all, put my heart in there. It's like me and my sister were talking about, like, you know, as women, we love hard. I gave my everything. In my relationships, I give my everything. And when my everything ain't good enough, I either remove myself or that person goes someplace. But when I give my all into something, I put my all into it. I put my all into it. If I love a person, I put my all into it. When I say all, I mean my all, everything. And if that's not acceptable, then that's fine. But as far as exes, I had last year I had one come back. He apologized like, oh, I wish I, would have stayed with you. Well, I split with you because you were into something you had a business being in, as far as, watching adult films and stuff like that, and trying to ricochet and project that on me, make it seem like I was an issue and there was no issue there. Then I had another one who came back. Now, this is one that, be honest with you, I never expected for him to ever speak to me again. I never expected to hear from him again ever in life, because that experience left a sour taste in my mouth. And not only that, I didn't want to hear from him at all. But I remember when I was in a broken state and I had prayed, Lord, let him come back, blah, blah, blah. I said that and I forgot about it. So when the guy did dip, my oldest daughter called. He's like, Mom, he's going to be back. I'm like, girl, I ain't trying to hear none of that. And I didn't want to hear none of it. So this person ended up coming back in October of last year. So before that, I had saw a friend of his the following year after we broke up, and we split in 2013. I saw his friend in 2014. They said that he was going to get married. So I said, okay, congratulations. But during that time, I was still like, up. I was still kind of like, let's say, upset per se, because the way that he did me, I'm just like, oh wow, you getting married the following year when you were just here with me, like in June, we just split, and then you just now getting married another, a little year later to somebody. So it had my mind, like, at the time years ago, like twirling around, like, okay, well, wait a minute. I'm just like, okay. So that brought me back to that moment. So I'm just like, oh, okay, well, congratulations. And I just moved forward from there. I was like, oh, that's done. Okay, let me move forward with my life. But I stayed single for a while. Because I wanted to get to know myself as a person. I mean, I knew myself, but I wanted to have more companionship with myself. And God was purging me. I was thrown in ministry. I was doing a lot of different things. I didn't want to because I was really hurt by that. Even though the time that we were together was not a long time, not even a year, I still would have loved to have had that relationship with him because I loved him, cared for him, his kids, and everything. And when I look back at it, I did everything. I put my whole heart and soul into it. uh, fed his kids when he came over. Took him to work at times. Came pick him up from work sometimes. Some of his ministry engagements I would take him to. Sometimes I would drop him off. Sometimes I would stay. Sometimes I would stay to watch the kids while he's doing service. Cook, clean, whatever else. Everything woman's supposed to do, I did. That still wasn't good enough for him to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to stick around and stay and see where this goes more. No, he left. So, of course, I was heartbroken. And I was just like, dang, like what just went on here? But see, when you run into a person who has a grass is greener syndrome, you can get screwed. And when I say screwed, just like, okay, you're in it and everything and you want to be with this person and they got the grass is greener syndrome. So they think like, oh, well, man, if I can get her, then let's see what else is out there. So that's what happened with him. He wanted to play the field. I was falling for him. And maybe he was liking me or whatever. But he didn't form that emotional bond with me because how you going to form an emotional bond with somebody and you marry somebody the following year? You're not emotionally, that means you weren't really emotionally attached to me. So we didn't have like a bond where it's like, okay, I'm just going to stay. Make long story short, fast forward. He's in my inbox talking about, he messaged me, and at first I wasn't gonna answer. I'm like, I was like, this is a joke, like for real. So I was just like, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I didn't answer that day. I answered the next day. I was like, okay, yeah, how you doing? I was like, yeah, I'm kind of surprised to hear from you because the way that anything I wasn't good enough for you then. What makes you think you're trying to approach me now? And of course, I'm married. And he's like, oh, well, I'm sorry I hurt you. This woman ain't the woman I thought she was, and blah, 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 and all that kind of different stuff. And I'm just like, well, that's who you picked. I'll let you go to do whatever you was going to do. Like, you picked her. So you just have to live with that. And I said, excuse me, doing an old-fashioned way. I was like, oh, so Hell's Bells then hit your doorway and now you want to come looking for me. I was like, I ain't heard from you since we split. You never called. You never did anything. You didn't see how I was doing. Like, wonder like, hey, I wonder how Delilah's doing. Let me check on her. You never called me by phone. You never called. You messaged me on Messenger. You never did anything like that. You just upped and left. And then now, 10 years later, you're having issues in your marriage and you want to come and approach me and someone apologize and whatever else. And I was just kind of like disgusted with that. Now, apology, I never thought I would get, but I don't think I would even get, even the little watered down apology, whatever you can call it, had he not had issues in his marriage. And when I say spinning the block, God will spin the block for you. God knows when your hands are clean, you haven't done nothing to nobody, you try to be good natured with people, and they do you wrong and try to do you shady, God's going to deal with them. And he's going to create an event in a situation for that person to think about the last person they did dirty. And guess what? The last person he did dirty? Me. So I never prayed about that. All I said was, Lord, this is how it went. This is making him realize how, he really hurt me at the time. That was a prayer from over 10 years ago. I was like, because that really hurt. I was really like distraught by that. Because as a woman, I don't introduce my, people who I date to my kids. Everybody I date, no, I wasn't doing that. And in that stage of my life, I was in somewhat of a backslidden state, but I got roped back in with that. But I don't introduce everybody to my kids, and that's what I did. And he introduced me to his children. So I thought, like, okay, maybe solidification here. But pretty much more so, that's not what it was. Just because a man I introduced it to his mom, his kids, a couple of his friends, and pastor friend, and church, and and did all that, and he wasn't even 110% serious about me. Not even fully emotionally available to me. Maybe he had some feelings, of course, could you be around somebody, but not in a way that I felt for him. And we have to be careful with our love tank. If that person's not pouring into your love tank the way that you're pouring into theirs, be careful. Guard your heart, for out of it flows the issues of life. But anyway, I did get an apology. I even asked a question. I was like, well, so what was it? Like, really? What really actually happened? Because I was looking to get closure. Curiosity and closure. He's like, well, I wanted to play the field, and I wasn't ready, settle down. And he did say, like, hey, let's see what else, if I can get this, let's see what else I can get. Well, he did get something else. Something that he thought he wanted, but it's not what he was expecting. I told him, I was like, I told him beforehand, years ago, I was 32 years old, going on 33 a year. I was like, every woman ain't the same. And I wasn't tooting my own horn. Like, every woman ain't like me out there. And I was not tooting my own horn. That was just something I was led to say at that time. Like, every woman ain't like me out there. I was like, I'm not out there. There's only one me. Of course, God makes people, similar, but there's only one you. But he wasn't trying to hear that, so he didn't have to hear it. But he found out he knew exactly what I meant. And all I could hear, he was complaining to me about, oh, well, my wife don't do this, don't do that, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, so y'all don't pray together? You don't do that? No, don't pray. I was like, what? I was like, red flag if a woman doesn't have a relationship with God of her own and don't pray for you and with you. I was like, we can mess up even as women. We think like, oh, this person's the one because we slept with them, or they give us, show us a good time, take us out, or, have good sex or something. We think like, oh, this is the one, this is who I want to keep. But it's more than that, more than physical. It's more about less about having fun. It's more like how that person can help you in ministry. Are they going to push you towards God? Are they going to pray with you, pray for you? Are they going to battle warfare with you? Or are they just going to leave you just to get stuck and stabbed by yourself? Are they going to intervene and care for you? And he learned that he basically got the opposite of what he wanted. But that's something that he has to live with. That's on him. That's truly on him. So don't think that the ex coming back around is a great honor and thing to do, like it's a complete flex. No, it's not a complete flex, because most exes come back when whoever they replaced you with didn't work out, and they want to see if they can get you back, or get you back into their lives to be that emotional support animal, or to be with them, period, start a relationship and all of that. And that you should be disgusted by that. You shouldn't be prideful that you should be disgusted that somebody would even want to do that to you. Like, man, I wasn't good for you back. You were good enough. They just weren't good enough for you. You were good enough. You were great enough, good enough. You did everything that a woman should do, but if they didn't appreciate you then that's on them. That is their loss. But I just say all that to say, ladies, you don't have to take mediocrity, because you deserve way more better than that. You deserve to be loved, pursued, and all of that. And when you're about to make or even consider getting back with an ex, look back in those messages that you sent to a friend of yours the years ago or that time that y'all split. And go back and look and see how that person made you feel at that time. That person made you feel good about yourself. Did that person make you unsure about yourself? Did that person make you insecure? Did that person really make you feel valuable at that time? Did they? Did they? And God will allow you to at time reminisce about like, okay, well, remember how you felt during that time? Wasn't your heart broken? Then you had to come for me for healing about this person. Why would you want that person back in your life? Do they really treat you good? Do they really treat you the way that they should have been treated? If they have, that's one thing, but have they? Do they treat you better than you ever been treated by anybody else? Do they treat you better? Do they treat you as God would want them to treat you? Do they value you? Do they value your love, your time, your attention, your devotion, your help with battling the spiritual warfare, praying for you, praying for them, praying with them, loving on them, affection, all that? Did they appreciate those things that you were giving to them? Did they? Because if they had appreciated them, if they had valued you for the woman that you are, they would have stayed. They would have never left. That's the thing. That is the thing that we lose sight of. We think, like, oh, this ex is coming back in our lives. Oh my gosh, he must really. No. If a man loves you, he ain't gonna marry another woman except you. He ain't gonna be gonna marry somebody, this person over here, and then come back to you. Exes come back because the relationship that they picked over you didn't work out, and they want to have connection to you. They want to have an emotional connection, a physical connection, a spiritual connection, a reconnection. They want you to feel that same way that you felt about them years ago. And sometimes that can happen, and you got to watch it. You got to watch it. Because you don't need nobody breadcrumbing you. You don't need nobody disrupting your peace. You don't need none of that. And some men, they won't take accountability for their actions and how they treated you in that relationship. And if you bring something up, oh, you arguing about it. Oh, no, you're not arguing about it. You just want clarity. Because these men will walk away from you and not give you any closure and supposed to show up and you're supposed to pick up where you left off. And this is for the singles. You're supposed to pick up where you left off. You haven't gotten married or anything. They didn't got married or they got divorced and they expect like, oh, well, they'll accept me back. And some people, men will come back, just like I seen this little insert. Some men will come back to you because they know that the woman that they chose don't love them at all. Don't value them, don't love them. And they go back and they think like, who was the person who really loved me? Oh, ding, ding, ding. Oh, there's a little light bulb that goes on their head. Oh, it was her. Let me go back and see if I can get her. And then they want to sit up and whisper all these sweet nothings in your ear. Oh, I love you. I should have stayed with you. And this. How you going to love me? And you done sat up here and made up. You're going to got married, got got 3 more kids, and a wife, and still procreating with the wife that you with, and a baby on the way. Don't believe the hype. Stay out of drama. Stay drama free. Stay sucker free. As I mentioned, if God said, okay, this is where I need you to start over with this person, forgive them, go forward, that's one thing. But don't pick up trashy situations. Don't let nobody dump their garbage of relationship issues and woes on you. Value yourself more than that. Value yourself more. Let them go spin the block with somebody else. And, some of these men will go ahead and they'll lie just to get what they want out of you. Whether it's emotional support. Because some of these men will lie to you, say, oh, I don't want to be with my wife. I'm going to divorce her and do this and do that and everything else. And they still procreating and getting folks pregnant and doing all kinds of different things. So you can't believe everything that somebody says. Just because they say it doesn't mean make it so, and that doesn't make it true either. So I just want to encourage you all today, you ladies, you are queens and you deserve better. than your ex-boyfriend, your ex-husband, whoever. You deserve way better than putting up with mediocrity. You don't deserve that. You don't need nobody giving you breadcrumbs. Um, you do not. Your worth is not found in a relationship. Just because that man um, left you to sow his wild oats, just because that man did not see you as wife material doesn't mean that you aren't wife material. Just because he looked at you as a notch on another notch on this belt doesn't mean that you are a notch on anyone's belt. You are a valuable woman. You're beautiful. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. Don't let no situation, don't let nobody take that away from you. Because my thing is, and be careful also, because that man can be saying anything he want to say to you, talking about, oh, I love you, I care for you, I miss you, and all that kind of different stuff, bashing his wife, and you get emotionally, and you can find yourself emotionally connecting yourself with that person, and you be in the creek. And when I say in the creek, you be in trouble. So guard your heart, for out of it flows the issues of life. Guard your mind. Guard your mind, guard your heart. And wherever you go, take God with you. I tied this too tight. Ooh. But wherever you go, as I mentioned, take God with you. You don't have to put up with mediocrity. You don't even have to answer his text. You can just look at it like, yeah, do I really want to answer that or no? Nope. Unless God says, like, hey, y'all can be, if you feel like you can be cordial. Some people are cordial with the exes. But if you can be cordial, be cordial. If you believe like, no, this is just going to create some emotional tension between us and all that kind of different stuff, like, I ain't trying to do that. Because some exes will come in your life to you. If they know you were giving as far as monetarily, trying to help out, they'll come and borrow money from you and everything else. Or if they know you're a caring, sweet person, they'll come and tell you their problems and everything else. And will want you to emotionally support them and everything else. So they want you to emotionally support them in a relationship with a woman that they left you for. I think it's hilarious. You'll be amazed as all the stuff I see on Facebook. But forgive, move on, but don't forget how that person made you feel. Whether it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 10 and a half years ago, 12 years ago, 20 years ago. Don't forget how that person made you feel and how they just threw you away like yesterday's garbage and you're a diamond in the rough and they threw you away to go ahead and play outside of you. Remember that. Before you do anything else, think about that. Don't allow your feelings get involved. Stay even. Don't let no man play in your face. I don't care. He preaches down the house, prophesies, speaking tongues, or whatever else. But some of them preachers be the worst, biggest whores out there was. Because I remember in a relationship, I went back and looked at a message, and I was just like an old message. I remember him saying, oh, well, we ain't going to tell everybody about us until we're engaged. This boy, we were never engaged. And he started moving funny towards the end of the relationship. So I knew something was up. And I was like, yeah, something's up with this. Something's off. So I'm just like, you know what? Forget that. And I thank God for his grace, his mercy, and his love, his word, and that he stands for his word. And when somebody uses you as a stepping stone to get into another relationship and your hands were clean, woe unto them, because God's going to deal with them accordingly. And the biggest revenge, you don't revenge against anyone. But the biggest revenge is moving on with your life. And not letting them have access to you anymore. They had full access to you years ago, months ago, or whatever, and they didn't want it. They come back and they say, hey, I want to be with you. I want to be around you. You can say no. As I mentioned, you don't have to seek revenge, but you need to do what's best for you. You don't let nobody make a fool out of you. That's what you don't do. Some people will do that, but no, you don't let nobody make a fool out of you. I don't care how much you love a person or whatever. You don't let nobody make a fool out of you. Was that fool me twice? Well, fool me once, shame on me. Well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So before you think about spinning the block, you better think about how foolish or how hurt that person made you feel before you even consider it. Not even consider a friendship. Because a friend, my thing is, as a friend, when you start off as friends, you cultivate that friendship. And then if it goes into a relationship, like, oh man, well, it's going to happen. And then after that, you split and you still can't have that friendship there because you crossed the line as far as, you know, whether it's betrayal or just being not a good friend. And it's just like once you diss me in a relationship, then you shouldn't even have opportunity to even think that we're going to be buddies or friends because you didn't do me right in a relationship. So that relationship equaled a good friend plus a girlfriend. After you split and you did me shady, then that friendship went down the drain as well. So that's what you have to keep in mind as well. Don't allow nobody to make a fool out of you. Greater is coming. You ain't got to worry about it. If a person for 2024, we are not allowing people in our lives who are space holders. And my thing is, when I look back at that relationship, I was used as a placeholder. It's like, okay, well, this is good for right now. But eventually I'm going to look and see what else is out there. Well, placeholder or not, however that person meant it to be, God was not pleased with them. Trust me. So, God bless you all. I'm glad you're listening to this. But don't never let a man play in your face. Ask God for prayer, more discernment. Ask God if you have struggled in sexual sin, it's fornication. Ask God to keep that cooch on ice for you. Profess the word of God over it. If it's on fire, you're like, I plead blood of Jesus over it. I rebuke any sexual lustful thought in the name of Jesus Christ. I bind the spirits up in the name of Jesus. You have to protect yourself, honey. You got to protect your eye gates, your ear gates, your head gates, your vaginal gates, everything. Your hands, everything. You have to guard your heart, your mind, your body, and soul. Ephesians 6:10-18. Put that on too. Be strong, Lord. Power is might. Put on the full armor of God. Put on the full armor of God when it comes to dating. If that man trying to invite you over to his house for a movie or a date, say no. If you trying to go over to his house at nighttime and it's dark, say no. Say no, say no, say no. Because it only take one. You don't need to fall. Protect your virtue. If you've been virginal, you've been pure, born again virgin. Protect all of that. Protect it. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. Be selfish with yourself. Remember, they lost out and it was them. It wasn't you. So be blessed. Have a blessed evening. And remember, you ain't got to put up with nothing. God loves you. Bye.